Good afternoon, my dear students. I am Dr. Deepak More, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Sanjeevani Mahavidyalaya Chapoli. Today, we are going to study about The Negro Speaks of Rivers. It is a poem written by Langston Hughes, who is an American poet. His full name is James Mercer Langston Hughes. He was born in 1 February 1902 and he was dead in 22 May 1967. He was a great American poet. He was a social activist. He was a novelist and great playwright and a communist from Joplin, Missouri. He was one of the earliest innovators of the new literary art form called jazz poetry. Hughes is best known as a leader of the Harlem Renaissance. He famously wrote about the period that the age was in vogue, which was later paraphrased as when Harlem was in vogue. His poem The Crisis was first published in 1921. The Negro Speaks of Rivers, which became Hughes' signature poem. This poem, the above poem, The Negro Speaks of Rivers, is his signature poem, is his masterpiece poem. Was collected in his first book of poetry, The Weary Blues, and it was composed and published in 1926. Hughes' first and last published poems appeared in The Crisis. More of his poems were published in The Crisis than in any other journal. Hughes' life and work were enormously influential during the Harlem Renaissance of the 1920s, alongside those of his contemporaries, that is, Zora Neale Hurston, Wallace Thurman, Claude McKay, Countee Cullen, Richard Nugent, and Aaron Douglas. These are his contemporary poet. Hughes and his contemporaries had different goals and aspirations than the black middle class. They criticized the men known as the midwives of the Harlem Renaissance, W.E.B. Du Bois, J.C. Redmond Faust, and Locke, as being overly accommodating and assimilating Eurocentric values and culture to achieve social equality. Hughes and his fellows tried to depict the low life in their art, that is, the real lives of blacks in the lower social economic strata. They criticized the divisions and prejudices based on skin color within the black community. Hughes wrote what would be considered their manifesto. The Negro Artist and the Racial Mountain, published in the Nation in 1926. The manifesto as above. The younger Negro artists who create now intend to express our individual dark skinned selves without fear or shame. If with people are pleased, we are glad. If they are not, it doesn't matter. We know we are beautiful and ugly too. The Tom cries and the Tom laughs. If colored people are pleased, we are glad. If they are not, their displeasure doesn't matter either. We build our temples for tomorrow, strong as we know how, and we stand on top of the mountain, free within ourselves. This is the manifesto published by Hughes. Then his poetry and fiction portrayed the lives of the working class blacks in America. Lives he portrayed as full of struggle, full of joy, full of laughter, and full of music. Permitting his work is a pride in the Africa American identity and its a diverse culture. My seeking has been to explain and illuminate the Negro condition in America and obliquely that of all humankind. Hughes is quoted as saying, he confronted racial stereotypes, protested social conditions, and expanded Africa Americans' image of itself, a people's poet who sought to eradicate both audience and artist by lifting the theory of the black aesthetic into reality. Hughes stressed a racial consciousness and cultural nationalism devoid of self hate. His thought united people of Africa, descent and Africa across the globe to encourage pride in their diverse black folk culture and black aesthetic. Hughes was one of the few prominent black writers to champion racial consciousness as a source of inspiration for black artists. In addition to his example in social attitudes, Hughes had an important technical influence by his emphasis on folk and jazz rhythms as the basis of his poetry of racial pride. Then, brief introduction of The Negro Speaks of Rivers, written by Hughes. Introduction. The Negro Speaks of River is a poem written in 1920 by the American poet Langston Hughes. One of the key poems of a literary movement called the Harlem Renaissance. The Negro Speaks of Rivers traces black history from the beginning of human civilization to the present, encompassing both terms like the construction of the Egyptian pyramids and horrors like American slavery. The poem argues that the black soul has incorporated all of this historical experience and in the process has become deep. The poem thus suggests that black cultural identity is continuous, that it stretches across the violence and displacement of slavery to connect with the past, and that black people have made vital yet often neglected contributions to human civilization. Then let us study The Negro Speaks of Rivers, written by Langston Hughes. It is a text of the poem. The first line of the poem, the poet addresses that I have known rivers, ancient as the world and older than the flow of human blood in human veins. My soul has grown deep like the rivers. Then another lines, I bathed in the Euphrates when drowns were young. I built my hut near the Congo and it lulled me to sleep. I looked upon the Nile and raised the pyramids above it. I heard the singing of the Mississippi when Abraham Lincoln went down to New Orleans, and I have seen its muddy bosom turn all golden in the sunset. I have known rivers, ancient, dusky rivers. My soul has grown deep like the rivers. This is the text of the poem. When we analyze the poem, that the Negro speaks of rivers, stretches from the earliest moments of human civilization all the way to American slavery, emphasizing that black people have both witnessed and participated in the key moments of human history. In the face of centuries of slavery and oppression in America, the poem's speaker asserts the preservance of black cultural roots. The poem argues that people of African descent have not simply been present for all of human history, they have been a guiding force shaping civilization. In this sense, the poem is an ode to black preservance. Then, in the another line of the poem, the poet addresses that the speaker of the poem acts as a representative figure. After all, the title is The Negro Speaks of River, not a Negro. At the time of the poem's writing, Negro was a common term that wasn't considered offensive. In this sense, the speaker models how he or she thinks the black community as a whole should rate to its history and culture. As an almost mythical figure, the speaker emphasizes the depth of his or her experience, which turns out to represent the entire history of black people. The speaker has known rivers ancient as the world and bathed in the Euphrates when downs were young. The Euphrates is a river in the Middle East associated with an era called the cradle of civilization, where human agriculture first began. As such, the speaker is saying he or she was present at the very start of human history, implying that black people have helped shape the world as we know it. Invoking this deep history establishes the fact that black experience extends as far back as any other people peoples, creating a profound sense of community and connection between black people. In fact, the speaker has known rivers older than the flow of human blood in human veins. Suggest these lines suggesting that black history extended even before human existence. This connects the speaker to the natural world. On one hand, such a connection could be considered problematic since racist discourses often oppose civilized white populations to natural or uncivilized black peoples. Means because of these racist ideas, Hughes himself veered away from such characterizations in his later work. On the other hand, this connection can be seen as asserting a sense of wisdom and peace, such as when the Congo lulls the speaker to sleep in the face of slavery and oppression, which the poem alludes to later on. In addition to the speaker's deep historical experience, he or she has also witnessed recent events such as the singing of the Mississippi, a river of the American continent, thousands of miles away from the Euphrates when Abraham Lincoln went down to New Orleans. The line alludes to a famous trip Lincoln took down the Mississippi as a young man, which exposed him to the evils of slavery. The speaker invokes these examples to show the breadth of black experience, which includes moments of triumph like building the pyramids and moments of trial and tribulation like slavery and the civil war. In all these moments, black's experience has helped define the course of history. Then, in another lines of the poem, the poet suggests us that as the speaker outlines these distinct, disparate experiences, he or she stresses that they are not disconnected events. They form one uninterrupted experience like a river. Rivers represent continuity. They cannot be chopped up into discrete chunks. Furthermore, the speaker's experience is deep like a river, suggesting permanence, preservance, and inner strength. Black people have preserved through the most difficult times. Like a river, black history keeps flowing. This argument holds special importance for the American black community for two related reasons. First, the slave trade cut off black people from their houses, their cultures, their families, and ultimately their history. Yet the speaker asserts a continuous history despite that cutting off. Second, American narrative of history have usually focused on white people, effectively erasing black experience. So, in presenting the speaker's knowledge as stretching across contents and historical periods, the poem portrays a different narrative, one that acknowledges black history. Thus, to conclude, the speaker argues that black identity and accomplishment are so powerful they can cross the gaps that slavery created, reconnecting with lost ancestors and traditions. In this way, the poem proudly portrays the depth of black historical experience. Thank you very much.